The new championship season is just around the corner, guys, and today I'm going to make my entire 24th to 1st championship predictions. But before we start, I want to apologise in advance. I am filming this on my phone, just like in the Premier League predictions, so it's probably the best way to watch it is on an iPhone or a phone in general, because I want to apologise for all the black bits on the screen here, and I hope this doesn't retract anybody's enjoyment of watching this video, and also I want to apologise for any potential upset fans of these clubs who may or may not watch this video. Probably not, but anyway, without further ado, let's begin. So, as ever, someone has to finish bottom, and for me, 24th place is Charlton Athletic. Now, Charlton, they did come up through the League One playoffs, and they've got Nathan Jones as their manager, and we know he can do some good good things in this league. He's done it before with Luton Town, of course, but I don't think the squad is quite up to scratch as championship standard yet. I am on board with Charlton surprising us this season, but I just don't think they have enough in the tank to survive. Then on to 23rd place, I have gone for Oxford United. Now, this is probably a controversial one. They've got Gary Rowett at the helm, and he did a very good job to keep them up last season. They had a good start to the season, good run, and then they started to fall off towards the end of the campaign, but they survived comfortably. But this time around, I think it's going to be harder, a bit harder, maybe, to survive. It's just like Charlton, I'm not entirely sure where their squad is at this point in time, but I think they might just drop. And then on to 22nd place, and the final team to go down. You guys have been waiting for this one. It's Sheffield Wednesday, and they are a good squad. They finished mid-table last season, and they can, if all this problem with the financial crisis they're in, I would have said probably pushing up towards the playoffs, or at least mid-table again. But I think with the financial crisis that they've got going on, it's getting really bad, and it could result in a relegation for them. They have held on to Danny Rowe, which is a good hold on, but the thing is, these Sheffield Wednesday players, if they're not paid, they have it in their contracts that they can leave, and I just don't know who they'll replace them with. So this could just as easily be rock bottom of the table. I've put them a couple places higher, but still ultimately going down. Then on to 21st place, and the first of the teams to survive, and I've gone for Hull City, and that is for a very similar reason to Sheffield Wednesday, in the sense that they have some financial difficulties off the pitch. And they have just lost their manager, Ruben Sellers, to Sheffield United. So I think, again, it could just as easily result in a relegation for them. But I think they have got enough to only just survive this season. And then on to 20th place, I have gone for Preston North End. And yeah, Preston only just survived on the final day last season, but they were really struggling towards the end of the season. I think it might be more of the same this season. I I think they're going to be fighting, scrapping towards that relegation zone, but I think they might just have enough to survive. I actually originally had them a couple places higher than this, but I did chop and change a lot of these teams around. The Championship is so hard to predict. But I have gone for 20th place for Preston North End. Then on to 19th place, I have gone for Watford. And it's kind of a similar-ish reason to Preston North End, but Watford, their parachute payments ran out ages ago, and I think they've just been in a slow regression down the Championship. The Championship since their last relegation from the Prem, and I think it's just going to get worse for them. I think they're just going to drop right down the table. I don't even know who their manager is. Someone could probably say in the comments, but I've gone for 19th place and only just surviving for Watford. And then on to 18th place, I have gone for Derby County. And Derby, just like Oxford last season, they did surprise me in staying up. I had them as my bottom two last season. I didn't make a video, of course, but I made predictions and I had them as my bottom two, along with Plymouth. And, their Oxford and Derby survived, and I think it could be more of the same for Derby this season. I think they're going to be pushing towards mid-table, but I think they're going to be comfortable from the drop, but finishing 18th place this season. Then on to 17th place, I've gone for Queen's Park Rangers. And QPR, they've always been an interesting one for me. They could be well down there and scrapping relegation, or they could be pushing towards mid-table. So I put them around mid-table and 17th place. I think they are at least I remember them as like a very solid Championship unit, and I think they could push up a bit, but I think 17th place is ultimately where they'll finish this season. Then moving on swiftly to 16th place, I have gone for Portsmouth. Now Portsmouth, I feel like are going to progress up the table this season. I think, especially their home form last season was incredible. Like, away they could go and lose, 1-0, 2-1, and then they go back home the next week and win like 4-0. Like, they are a solid Championship unit, and this is coming from a Southampton supporter. Portsmouth are a solid Championship unit, and I think they've definitely got enough to survive this season, and I think their home form will be very strong, and I don't feel like it's going to be easy to play them at home next season. So 16th place and mid-table is where I've gone for Portsmouth this season. Then on to 15th place, I have gone for Stoke City. Now, Stoke's another interesting one who, as we all know, could finish anywhere between like towards the drop zone and towards like mid-table. The thing for me is the manager. I think Mark Robins is a good, very solid Championship manager. I mean, he brought Coventry to the playoffs a couple of seasons ago, and he's been good for Coventry in the past. And I think Stoke's a different unit, but I think he's a good manager. I think he can get them pressing and maybe pushing further up the table. So I think maybe 15th place is about right for Stoke. Then on to 14th place, I have gone for Swansea City. Now, this is a difficult one because I know Swansea have been doing some great business in the transfer window, and I think they could potentially even push up towards the playoffs this season, but thing is, like, they always, at the minute anyway, in recent season, they always seem to finish around mid-table, and I think they're going to do sort of that again. I think 14th place is a solid finish for Swansea, and yeah, I think they'll be comfortably mid-table this season. And then on to 13th place, and this is where people are going to hate me. And this is probably the most controversial part of the video so far. I've gone for the other Welsh team. I've gone for Wrexham in 13th place. I originally did have Wrexham in my top 10, and I see no reason at all why they can't finish in the top 10 this season. Wrexham is an uncertainty. They've done a triple promotion from the National League to League 2, League 2 to League 1, League 1 to the Championship in 3 consecutive seasons. I think they're going to be strong in the Championship, certainly. They could push back towards the playoffs again, but the Championship is a different entity, and I think they might struggle a bit this season. That being said, I somehow feel like they might beat Southampton on the opening day. But I don't know. I think they might maybe struggle at the start of the season and then push on. But they could, they could just as easily be running on a high and start really well. And, well, they could continue that form. We'll see what Wrexham is. It's the unknown at the minute. We'll see what they do. But 13th place is where I've got them. And of course, Wrexham have also got Ryan and Rob at the as owners, and they've done some very good business with them, getting them promoted from the National League to the Championship. And yeah, they're good owners as well. And then we move on to 12th place, and I've gone for Blackburn Rovers. And Blackburn is another team that I could see pushing up towards the playoffs this season, or they could finish around mid-table. This is probably another controversial one because Blackburn always seem to finish inside the top 8. And I don't know, I think the Championship looks a bit tougher this season. And my word, it is tricky to predict. It really is. I know they've brought in some good players to Blackburn, and I think they could potentially push the squad up. Again, it's kind of an unknown at the minute, but I've gone for Blackburn in 12th. And then in 11th place, I've gone for Bristol City. Now, Bristol City made the playoffs last season. They did very well to do that. But I feel like I think they might have lost their manager as well. So that's potentially going to be a bit of a miss for them. I still feel like they'll be a strong unit this season, and I think they might push towards the playoffs again. Maybe they might be in it towards the middle of the season, but I feel like they might ultimately have a little bit of a regression down the table. I've gone for them to finish 11th and just miss out on the top 10 this season. But again, they could finish anywhere as the Championship. And then we move into the top 10, and in 10th place, I've gone for West Brom. Now, West Brom is another one of the tricky ones. They finished in the playoffs a couple seasons ago. I feel like they could push on towards the playoffs again. They've brought in some decent signings, but they've also in recent seasons finished about 9th, 10th place, and I feel like they are another team that could be pushing towards the playoffs, but I think they'll ultimately just miss out in 10th place, but a top 10 finish for West Bromwich Albion. Then in 9th place, I've gone for Millwall, and this is the season. I feel like if there's any season in recent times that they can make the playoffs, it's this season. They've done some excellent business. I'm really sorry I'm not mentioning any of the players' names. I know they've made good business. These teams, I just can't exactly remember who they who they've brought in, off the top of my head. But Millwall, they're always a team that are sniffing around the playoffs and in the top 8. I think they might just drop to 9th place this season because of a certain promoted team, which is going to be mentioned in a minute. And aforementioned, in 8th place, I've gone for Birmingham City. Now, I can very much see them making the playoffs this season. I could see them making the playoffs almost 100%. But I've gone for 8th place. They have absolutely wiped the floor with the transfers they brought in, and they absolutely walked League One last season. They got an EFL record of 111 points last season. They were absolutely flawless in that league, and I feel like they could maybe go on and do an Ipswich and try and get double promotion back to back from League One to the Championship, then Championship to the Premier League. But I do feel like they might just miss out on the playoffs, but it's really, really tough to call. And then in 7th place, I've gone for Middlesbrough. And Middlesbrough are another team that seem to be season on season sniffing around the playoffs. Sometimes in, sometimes out. And I feel like they're going to be very much in that conversation again. But I feel like they're just going to miss out. Maybe even on the final day, I could see them being around there and then somehow missing out on the final day. But I've gone for 7th. They're very solid and they deserve to be back in the Premier League one day. And I think they could be sniffing towards the playoffs, but ultimately just miss out in the final place. And then into the playoffs we go. And in 6th place, I've gone for Norwich City. Now, Norwich are an interesting one. They made the playoffs 2 years ago. And in the other couple seasons, they finished around mid-table, around the top 10. And this season could go either way. But they've brought in some excellent business, and some excellent players. And they have that Premier League experience. But I think most of their Premier League quality players have gone away now. So this could be a bit of a risk. But I think Norwich might just make the playoffs this season. Then into 5th place, I've gone for Leicester City. Now, Leicester City, ordinarily, I would say, could be up towards winning the league. Maybe. Or at least automatic promotion. But that potential points deduction they have, 9 points, I think it is, that I feel like could hamper them. I think they could make the playoffs again. But they have, they have got that points deduction coming. And they have lost Jamie Vardy, who is, of course, top goal scorer for them. And I just don't know if they won't have enough to make automatics, but I think they might have enough to, make the playoffs again. And I think they have a very good chance of winning the playoffs if they make it there, So I'll go 5th place for Leicester. I originally had them 7th and missing out on the playoffs, but after careful consideration, I've put them in. Then into 4th place, I've gone for Coventry City. Yeah, I think Coventry will make the playoffs again. They struggled last season under Mark Robbins, and then they brought Frank Lampard in. And my word, what a job he did for them. He got them the playoffs. And I think he might do more of the same this season. I think they might actually rise up one position in the table, up to 4th place. I mean, Coventry are really strong Championship side now. They've come a long way since they won the League One title about 6 years ago now, I think. And yeah, they'd made steady progress towards, well, up the league, and I think Frank Lampard could get them back to the playoffs again, and maybe even promoted. And then on to third place, I've gone for Sheffield United. Now, this is tricky. Originally, I had Sheffield United and the team I have in second place. I had them chopping and changing many times. And now I'm wondering if I've put Sheffield United a bit too high, because they've lost Chris Wilder, who is Mr. Sheffield United. He's their great manager. He's got them promoted before. They brought in Ruben Selles from Hull. I mean, they did bring in Paul Heckingbottom, and he got them promoted in the 2022-23 season. Was it it might have been the 23-24 season, actually. I think they could be very much pushing towards automatics this season. Very unlucky to miss out on the playoffs last season, but I think third place is where Sheffield United will finish. And then on to the top two, the automatic promotion places. Who have I got to win the league? Who have I got second? Well, in second place, I've gone for Southampton. I've gone for Ipswich Town to win the league. Let's start with Southampton. They've brought in Will Still, who hasn't really got any experience in England and English football, but he has. But Southampton have had that before, not in the sense that I haven't had English football experience, but they brought in a new manager in Russell Martin the last time they were down here, and he ultimately got them on a good run and made the playoffs and won in the playoffs and got promoted. Last season wasn't great at all for us in the Prem. I think in the Championship we've got some good players. Adam Armstrong is still there, and we've brought in, I think it's Damien Downs, the American. So we've got some good talent in the squad. I think they could finish second. And then Ipswich Town. They've lost Liam Delap. They just lost Morsey, but I think as long as they did hold on to Kieran McKenna, they were going to be fine. And I think Ipswich Town, because they've held on to a lot of their good players, and if they haven't, they're going to get some good money for them. And I think that's what they have is enough to win the league again. And I think Kieran McKenna is an excellent manager, and I think he might actually get Ipswich Town the title this season. You can't deny double promotion from League One to the Premier League as well. He's a great manager, and I think he might get them re-promoted as champions. And so there you go, guys. I'm sorry it's a long video. You probably haven't watched the whole thing. And there you have it, guys. My entire 24th to 1st Championship predictions for the 25-26 season. I'd love to hear your own predictions in the comments, so if you feel like it, and if you feel like it, make your own predictions in the comments. I'm planning on doing League One predictions later in the week, and I'll see you guys later.